Shalom, shalom to the family of the Most High, Yahuwah. I want to thank you for stopping by today and spending a little time with us. We have a special guest with us, Dr. Kharis Copeland. Hallelujah. So welcome him to the stage, family. Hey, my brother, how you doing?
Hey, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom. Peace and blessings, Yasharel.
Hey, it's exciting to have you on the program today, my brother. This is a first for us. So
Yes.
I just want to say welcome aboard. Hallelujah. But I picked you out in particular because you have a unique perspective on the continent. And that's what I really want to discuss today is how the continent of Africa is uniquely poised to become the next economic superpower in the world. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I want to get your take on it, and how that's going to affect, because you have this thing about the new diplomacy, those types of things. How is that going to affect the new diplomacy as it originates from the African continent?
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I
You're
do
on the
want to
spot.
apologize, and
Next
I
one.
want to apologize because usually I'll jump in a couple minutes early to kind of synchronize some things, because that's what we do. But I have
Mhm.
been in the background, grinding away because these opportunities are happening, and they're happening very quickly. And again, thank you, Pastor Rick, for hosting me on this, because as if you hadn't really been on the channel, if you hadn't seen what has been happening in the last couple of weeks, months, days, and even hours, um we're living in some really tremendous times. And in terms of the neo diplomacy, in terms of the relationships, in terms of Africa being the recognized, and I'd say this, the recognized resource powerhouse. I liken it to the Belgian chocolates, the Hershey chocolates, all these other chocolates that's
Mhm.
made. But a lot of people don't realize that cocoa pod, most of it comes from out of Africa.
That's right. That's right.
That tree is right there. I've tasted the tree at it in its raw form. I didn't know you're
Mhm.
not supposed to eat the seeds. You're supposed to eat the little filling all around it, like kind of like what it is with an apple core, things of that nature. Well, there's a nice milky film that you have there, and that film, it's nice, and it's not necessarily sweet, but it is very tangy, and you could definitely taste
Mhm.
the where the chocolate gets derived from. And it's a process to that. It's a process to that before it even gets shipped on out, they let it sit and ferment for a little bit, for about a couple of days. And then they let it get to about a nice dark um process, because that darkened process, that is actually the start of the chocolate.
Mhm.
And that's where then it gets exported throughout the world to to be made into the chocolate products that we usually enjoy, some on a daily basis, others, not so.
Yeah.
But but that's the but that's the extent of it. And a couple of years ago, Ghana has been putting in, just for an example, Ghana has been putting in their Ghana chocolate board, their Ghana gold boards. These boards that are there, they're in place to be able to get the top quality, and quality means the bang for their buck.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I had written about in my book, The Rise of Africa, the Continent, the Diaspora, and BRICS, was about resource control and what that resource control would look like, and really what that resource control, how that would affect not just the African economy, but the global economies. And so when people talk about Africa being, a global economy or a powerhouse, I would say they already are a global powerhouse. It's just that they have to be recognized as a global powerhouse because, to be honest, you can't recognize yourself as a global powerhouse until, or you can't be recognized as a global powerhouse until you recognize yourself as one. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that right now, this is where the continent is actually beginning to recognize itself, because now it's been wait a second, why have we just been letting people get
Exploit.
away?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just continually. That's all I see is throughout the continent. They exploit the resources, they add value to it, then turn around and sell it back to our people on the continent at 100 times
Absolutely.
the price, 10 times the price. So
Hmm.
I think that that's going to be a critical element. So on the ground, do you see the attitudes of leadership? I mean, in the various countries that you have connections with, has the attitude began to shift? Because to me, it was all an attitude issue. Because why would I give away my raw cocoa and then have it refined and added sugar, packaged, and then sold back to me? That seemed like there's an attitude, there's a disconnect somewhere.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, and this is in, no uncertain terms. A lot of countries on the continent, particularly in Africa, and I would say, even say arguably around the world, the attitude began to shift, I would say, in earnest. See, we would talk about this, we would talk about, on the ground, and we would talk about, the backroom conversations of, hey, it's we're doing this, we're doing that. In 2023, I heard that conversation. Hey, we're trying, but we have some problems. In 2024, I've heard the same conversation. Hey, we're trying, but we're having some problems. In 2025, going on out there in Ghana and Burkina Faso, and having some conversations with some of our folks and other capacities there on the continent, it's no longer, hey, we're trying. It's a reality of, um we are working to do X, Y, and Z. There's no more, I think, and I have to tell this to the people that are listening, our folks in our community. It wasn't the fact that they did not want to work with us. It was really the fact that throughout these campaigns of aid, mutual aid, or international aid, excuse me, and all these other international charities and organizations, they were paid to really not have the relationship values and constructs that we wanted to see. I.e., when the money ran out for not um, engaging with us, then they started to all of a sudden reach on out to want to engage with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I tell people, you have to be very careful and very cautious in terms of, how we see different things happening on the continent, because you're now starting to see that the Western dollar, or excuse me, monetary systems, the Western value is not as strong as it once had been. Yes, they still have relationships, they're still cultivating relationships, but I'm going to tell you this: the genuineness, right, is not there anymore. And when I tell people, that there are costs in terms of white supremacy, there's actually cost. There's actually the reality that once once something had been, um, I would say, devalued, or the relationship gets devalued, then guess what? Then your actual economic outcomes, they get the value too. And you can't, and now the reality is that there once had been a, I would say, a mental block. And that mental block was based on the premise of, well, you know, um, you're not the same African as they are. They're African American, but they're American rather African. And now there's been such a, I would say, more of a substantial output in terms of, no, we know who we are. We're definitely African diasporans. We know how things have happened, and we know the frameworks of how this has happened. And
Mm-hmm.
because we just, not just that we know, but that we have been vehemently underscoring this with different, I would say, anecdotes at high levels. I think the other day on the Q2A channel, I explained this. There's a gentleman, his name is Sifawe Balaka, and whom I met when I was in Burkina Faso in 2024, and he was explaining the elements of reparations and what reparations actually truly meant, what the actual legal analysis was, and what his organization was doing to help support that. And this was the very first time I did get introduced to the concept of ECOSOC, and ECOSOC is basically and economic, social, and other political um, organizations to help with the African Union being able to support that particular change in how they value, i.e., the African Union values itself. And in that value, ECOSOC does actually support regional um, context to how these different regions are developed, and getting into that, and not getting too into the deep or the weeds with this. There's 6 regions to the African Union, okay, and the African diaspora makes up the 6th region. And it was my understanding, actually, as of last or January 2025, when there were elections taking place to basically shape and provide the framework that supports the 6th region, because the region was there, it was just never administered. And so during that time, I was there just observing that administration, how they wanted to go about, and the concepts of what that looked like. And for me, just personally speaking, I wanted just to observe and to take a look, because what I noticed, and what I've noticed just in the past, with dealing with our people in general, a lot of our people, we do a lot of the talk, but it's the actions. It
Yeah,
is the actions.
exactly.
And and in doing so, I was seeing a lot of the talk that was that was going on, that was occurring. And it's not to demean anyone, um or devalue anything, but even with a lot of the constructs, one of the things that had happened, especially with being able to try to formulate different things, it sounds good, it looks good, but at the end of the day, this is just my personal observation. um our brothers and sisters on the ground, they don't want to see just another, politicized um, organization that's framed on, nice speeches, nice,
Mhm.
slogans or quotes or anything else, just to do the same thing, right? And that's generally been
Just
ju-
exchanging one master for another.
exactly. Let's just develop or let's talk about ideas, and we never develop ideas. And I've had to say that within the especially the Q2A environment, the construct of the Q2A environment isn't an ideas, well, it is an ideas exchange, but it's an ideas exchange based off of and creates and mobilizes the
Mhm.
necessary resources and apparatus, or you can say apparati. So, I have to put on my try to not be so academically,
That's that PhD talking now.
that, oh, that's that big peanut brain. Ah, full of junk. No, but we're there creating those relationships, and those relationships help to mobilize different products, different services, and different results. And those results, and I say, please forgive me, because I have been very, very busy on the background because what we have done in those relationships is that, it's a good thing when people track you down, right? When
Mhm.
people track you down to get things done. And one of the things that was happening, and I tell folks that when I'm working in the background, and it's, I think it's hard for people to imagine or even want to believe, especially with Q2A. As I told people, I'm like, look, we punch way, way above our belt. We punch so far above our belt. People are always, they're always asking the questions. Is this true? Is this happen? And I mean, granted, I understand, because in our and within our community, just as an example, there's been a lot of different actors and things of that nature, and it does create issues, especially when you are doing the work, and we see folks in our community that are doing the work, and they're truly getting engaged, and they're truly, working those efforts over in the continent. And we see that. And I definitely appreciate all those folks that are definitely doing what the Most High has called them to do. So the reality is that I do make sure that we are not just engaging, but especially with our people here in the communities that are able to bring their expertise and their talents over to the continent. They're asking this for me. Is this for real? Is this legitimate? Is this? And that is a hard thing for people to even realize, because again, that these traditional roles have generally been um, filled in these relationships with somebody of hue that is not of a melanated hue, for lack
Mhm.
of better terms.
Right.
So for us to be able to say, oh, we're working and doing this at this particular level, at this particular, instance, that creates a lot of, well, is it real?
Mhm.
Right? That's a lot. That's
Because
apprehension.
it's never been before. We
It
have
has
never had a
come on.
diaspora that has been engaged with our people on the continent the way we are right now. And I even get that from the people on the continent. They're telling me it's time. God told me, they're saying they're still in the Christianity thing. God
Hmm.
told me it's time for our brothers to come home. And when they do, Africa is going to prosper. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you're preaching to the choir right now. What can we do? Because we know that the continent, the wealth, the resources, they're uniquely poised in the world, especially this world that people are trying to create with all this tech. All the technology requires those minerals. We've got the gold, we've got the rare earth, we've got all those wonderful things under our feet. But now the people's attitudes are shifting to, let's take control of it and let's have our brothers from the diaspora to come over. Because I had a conversation with a gentleman last week, and he was saying, come over, help us to secure these things, help us to keep the other nations out of our resources. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, man, I'm all for that. And so he says, look, we got some stuff cooking. And if we say it right now, people will be in disbelief. So we're going to do the same thing that Dr. Copeland does. We're going to say it's in the background. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
are
Go
we
ahead. Sorry.
how are we supposed to get our people positioned and get our attitudes right to be able to go over and help our people take advantage of what they have, what the Most High has blessed us with? How do we get there?
Well, I do say, just as you had mentioned earlier, with
Are you still there, bro? Dr. Copeland. Hey, family in the chat, give me a 1 if you can still hear me. If you're in the chat, you can still hear me, give me a 1. All right, then Dr. Copeland, I think we lost your sound. So we'll give him a minute. Let me message him. Let him know that we're not hearing him. But in the meantime, family, we've got a tremendous opportunity that's developing on the continent. The people that control those wealth and that resource, we knew from all this teaching for all these years, there was going to be a wealth transfer. It's not just going to come from the heathen nations, from the oppressors, but it's also in what the Most High has already placed in the land that he promised to us. And now we're finding people on the continent that are reaching out to us saying, help us, come over and help us to secure these things, because they've been continually exploited over decades, and still they haven't stolen even 10% of the wealth that's in the ground. How many of you heard the story a few months ago where a mountain of gold was discovered? You know, some big, huge deposit of gold. They've got the gold, they've got the rare earth, they've got the tanzanite, they've got all these valuable things that the world is clamoring for, uranium, all these things. But they need the expertise to come from the diaspora, to come back to the motherland and take advantage of these things. And the thing that I've been doing here lately is focusing on powernomics. Dr. Claude Anderson, group economics. What one person cannot do alone, a group of people can accomplish. If they come together in one accord, like the Tower of Babel, nothing this people has imagined to do can be restrained. Dr.
Okay.
Copeland, are you with me?
All right. Can you hear me now?
Let me see. Yeah, we can hear you, my brother.
Okay. There we go.
I was filling in time, bro. Talking about
Yeah. So what did I drop off at?
I haven't a clue because I thought you were gathering your thoughts there for a minute, and wait, this is a long gathering of thought. So,
Oh man, I was going in too. I
well, we
was I
didn't.
was I was reading from my little dissertation notes and my book notes. I
We
said,
were
"Oh, here we
all,
go."
all I can say is started on the topic of how do we, as a people, how do we position ourselves to take advantage of what the Most High has prepared, has blessed us with, it's there. The riches are there. It's in the ground.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
how do we connect with the right people at the right time in the right place to get this done? Because our people struggle in the diaspora economically, financially,
Hmm.
and people that have no money, have no influence, no power. That's why the world doesn't care about how they treat our people and the things that they do and get away with in these countries, because they don't fear us. There's no repercussions. There's no consequence. They don't have to worry about, like even now with the boycott. It's the only thing that they understand. But if you're
Well,
sitting on the uranium, the rare
mhm.
earth, the gold,
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, as I was as I was stating that um, earlier, I was going through all this. I had a great, 3 minutes into this. Like, what can't hear you? Okay, so as I stated, neo diplomacy, right? Currency, right? Our relationship is currency. The currency is the new our relationships. It is the new currency. It absolutely is. And I can't get into a lot of the specifics here on on YouTube, but that was one of the things I was talking about earlier today, because of a couple of different things going on, because of the relationships that we had been able to foster and to cultivate. When we in the West, the value of our relationship is based off of, well, what can you give, right? What's the transaction, right? Everything is transactional. Everything is, well, if I give you something, you need to give me something. And let me just tell you this. Um, that's not the case. That shouldn't be the case. And the way that this has happened is that when we go on out, and as I had traveled, especially with Brother Garth, as we have been in the background, um, working and building these relationships, they don't fall off. What they do is they get vetted. They get vetted because they want to see who you are. They want to see your person. They want to see your personality. You have to go through the 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 things that you may not believe is even happening. And one of the challenges to this is, well, they're not going to necessarily tell you, right, that hey, you're being vetted, you're on a short list, you're on this or that. One of these opportunities that we're doing, especially over in Ghana with the Hospital Project Initiative, those it's going to be a big economic driver. But let me tell you this: as soon as we had started in with the with that initiative, out of the blue, I was contacted by another country to start in on another project. And this is actually what's getting ready to happen. We're going to be contacted to do a lot of projects. We're going to be contacted to engage with them, to be able to support their critical minerals, critical
mhm.
infrastructure and economic development, mineral control, resource control. This is what they're looking at. Again, when I wrote the rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS. Well, this is now everything that is happening but the benefit is it's much more for our benefit because and I don't want us to be overly shocked about this. It's not to be shocked at, but it's the reality is this. They see us that we are their brothers and sisters. We are their family. Don't get it twisted where, these Africans, they don't like us and stuff like that. You want to know who's saying that?
The people that don't want you to go home.
Yeah, the people.
Yeah.
No, excuse me. The people that get paid, okay, by the people that don't want you to go over there because they're on over there taking and extracting all their minerals and resources.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they want you or I or any of us to go on over and build?
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment that we build, the moment that we are actually then showing what fairness looks like. Oh, they're doing that. You should actually be only doing this. Oh, you're looking at that. Oh, you actually should be looking like this. They don't want their secrets out the bag.
Trump let it out the bag a few months back when he said, I don't know what's wrong with you. He said, my friends go over to Africa and they come back wealthy. Exactly.
And they come back wealthy.
Take advantage of the resources, not only the resources of the ground, but the people. Pay them 50 cents an hour, $1 an hour, slave wages, basically slave wages.
Mm-hmm.
Who couldn't get rich? I mean, that's America's MO, right?
Well, and again, they don't want them to get rich because the moment that they're able to economically show vitality, sustainability, right, all the good things in developing and being a developed nation. Well, what does that do for the West? That's an economic threat.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get it twisted. Everything that we do, when I tell you, hey, support, because what we're doing is we are helping to empower the continent. And empowering the continent actually means somebody's going to get rich and somebody's going to get poor. That's how that goes. So if you're showing them how to enrich themselves, look, they are rich. They got trillions of dollars of minerals underneath their feet. They're now beginning to contain their resources. They just can't go on up there willy-nilly. Nope, they have to deal with different boards. They have to deal with different governmental structures for oversight to even be able. Look, they're selling gold at fair market value.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing over in Ghana. That's what they're doing over in these places in West Africa. And what the West tried to do, when gold was running up and going all crazy, it was the West that tried to open up and throw in more of their gold reserves because who was making money?
The price down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Who was making money? Africa was making money.
Yeah.
Same thing. Look, you have over in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. They're now controlling the uranium supply. They're making money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The problem is that even though they're making money, they still have a bit of an institutional glut on management. They need intellectual brain power, which comes from us. When I was over at the Lost Baths in around Slave Coast in Cape Coast and the Slave Castle area, what I was able to see and what my ancestors, all of our ancestors went through there, It's literally like genetically proven. Just
Mm.
with us being here, one of our ancestors had in fact passed through. Those are literally like genetic tidbits. Pretty crazy. But
Well,
in some
it
of those
doesn't
classes,
surprise me though that Ghana was the exit, and now we're getting all this love and attention from Ghana saying come back through the gate to return.
exactly, and they have it there, and they're genuine.
Hmm.
They're genuine about it. When I was there, just shooting the video and showing people and walking around that castle, they were genuine. You need to come back home. You need to come back home now. And let me tell you this: they got so much gold underneath their feet. It makes you feel uncomfortable. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'm like, what? Huh?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
thought. Listen, I thought I was going to see some like child soldiers come up out the bush. I was thinking about like Beast of No Nation. Like, is it safe here?
Hmm.
You know, brother, you are fine. It is good. It is no big deal. It is no problem. And for them, yeah, it's not a big deal. But the thing is that you would then ask, well, then why are you not utilizing your resources to build out these hospitals?
Hmm.
Well, it's a little bit more complicated. And what that is literally they didn't have the luxury to the knowledge capacity. They have knowledge gaps. And knowledge management is a real thing. Knowledge management. And a lot of these places, it's funny because when I worked at IT, I was like, I did IT, but I wasn't really like in love with doing IT. But one of the places and one of the things that I was in my particular IT section it was the knowledge management section. They called it KM. And then knowledge management, I was in the resource management. So part of my job was literally to ensure that all of the knowledge and understanding was properly categorized. I didn't really I wasn't really too, enthralled with the job. It wasn't very, appealing or, sexy for lack of better terms.
Hmm.
But what they wanted was the library of understanding to ensure that their knowledge was categorized, tagged, processed, containerized, you name it, to ensure that all of the lessons learned would be able to be accessed for further operations and other campaigns and things of this nature. And that was a big deal. You have to be able to see, how do you keep your knowledge? And again, when they took out our ancestors, they left a multi-century knowledge glut.
Hmm. Yeah. The brain drain.
The brain drain is real.
Hmm.
And it's only because we have now countries that have been brave enough. Let's get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. Brave enough to stand up and say, you want to know what? We hear our brothers and sisters over there on the continent. We hear our brothers and sisters over in America. We may not necessarily know or understand just what you're saying, but we know enough because we get affected and impacted in similar ways here in Africa.
Hmm.
And lo and behold, when you had in March 25th, 2026, the UN vote for the recognition of the trans-Saharan slave trade as the worst crime against humanity, when that got recognized, everybody knew what was going on. We all knew. It's
Mm-hmm.
all the writing on the wall. We said, "Oh, somebody's about to get paid."
Yes, to set up. They're setting it up.
They set it up. Now they tried to make it sound all nice and legalese. Oh, we just
Mm-hmm.
want to have it recognized because we cannot have true healing and growth. And but you see what I'm saying?
They learned.
So
They
being
learned
set
well
up,
from the colonizers.
yes, they did. You gotta, yeah, yeah, you gotta make it sound good. You gotta make it to where it's a buy-in for them. Yeah, you're right. We gotta do this, and yeah, we gotta do right. And so they did that. And when that happened, we were on our channels and we were on our platforms, and we were saying, "Oh yeah, you see what's gonna happen. You see what's happening." Listen, I was bold with it. I said I said, watch, it's about 90 to 180 days. You're gonna start seeing some major actions. And you realize 60 days later, then the Pope had the apology
Mm-hmm.
with the Magnificat Humanitas, basically the mea culpa, the admittance of guilt of the Catholic Church's role within the transatlantic slave trade. Because why? Because they instituted it, they initiated it via what? An act of war. That's how reparations get paid. It was an act of war. And now, here's what's happening. Now, these countries are realizing, well, this act of war, it didn't just impact our brothers and sisters here in Africa. That also impacted all of the survivors, generational survivors. We are generational survivors to one of the greatest crimes in humanity. Well, how are
Mm-hmm.
they so messed up? Because we're one of the survivors of one of the greatest crimes in humanity. You can't be talking about how we're messed up and not paying attention to why we're messed up, but you benefit off of us being messed up.
Messed up. Mm-hmm. So they have a vested interest in keeping you in your dysfunction.
Bingo.
But that's where we come in.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And what we have been doing is that our discussions with our brothers and sisters on the continent has allowed for a lot of awesome opportunities to take place. Because now it's one of those things, look, it's not just saying we can do and nothing happens. Look, we do. We do, and things happen. Look, I've told people this a while ago. I said, listen, if we had about $50 million, do you know what we could do? I said we would flip that thing into about 50 billion
Mm-hmm.
and probably less than 90 days.
No doubt. No doubt.
And the reality is that yes, we could. And what it is not that Africa has a commerce problem. It's not. They're just trying to make sure they're vetting us to see, are we actually totally destroyed, or do we want to actually come together and do something?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I'm going to say this, it's nice to know that they've listened and they're understanding that we're not totally destroyed. There are a few of us that are coming together to do something. And all it takes is just a few. All
That's
it takes is just a little bit.
Just a remnant of people who believe, of people who trust, the word of the Most High. That's all I'm looking for. Just a few people that have the same mind and want to do the same things, because it's possible. We got brothers on the continent reaching out to us saying, hey, can you help us with this? I'm like, I have no expertise in this area, but I'm going to trust that the Most High will lead. So,
And again, and these are the conversations that I've been having in the background, and a lot of people, when I do have these conversations, they always ask, is this for real? Is this the real thing? Is this is it, and I get that all the time. Is this? And I tell them, I'm like, yes, it is. I said, and here's this, and here's that. The reality is this: when people talk about, well, what can I do on the continent? The reality is this. The reality is, what can you not do? Because the whole thing is that once you're there, they're going to want you to, hey, can you help me with this? Can I show you this? Can I show you that? Oh yeah, we can do this. We can do this. We can do a lot of the things that's so easy to us. We take for granted because it's so easy. Oh, I could just contact this person, shoot this person an email. Oh, I know this person's number. I can call that. And then there it is. You get the ball rolling.
I mean, the raw is there. All we've got to do is develop it. It's like, was it Burkina Faso, how they're sitting on all this uranium, but they're sending it over to France to power France when they're not powering their own country. But I heard something about these miniature reactors. Have you heard anything about those? They have mini reactors that are like just enough to power a city, not trying to power an entire country, but just enough to power a city. But they're miniature reactors, and they say that's a game changer for Africa because now it's not cost prohibitive. It's not too expensive. It doesn't require all the manpower and technical expertise. It's just basically built out, brought in, dropped into place. You put in uranium and plug it into your grid. And I was like, that's a game changer.
And yes, so let me just kind of tell you this. It's a game changer, but that's not what they're going to want to do. So think about this. If I am, and just for the thought exercise, right? Let's just bring about the thought exercise. Okay, so let's just say I am Niger, or I'm Burkina Faso, and we do have these little mini reactors. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to try to maximize that mini reactor, right? That's only natural. Well, then guess what I can do? I can start then exporting, this because why? Because we got all the uranium in the world. Why not? Then what's going to end up happening? What's the setup? We don't want these black folks
to have a nuclear weapon.
Bingo.
Yeah, Trump.
Yeah. It sounds good on paper. Oh, it surely does.
But it's just a little reactor.
It's just a little, but it doesn't matter if it's a little. These folks are trying to have right. Look, and we laugh, but let's just be honest. Because why? Because
we know how they move. Yeah.
Bingo. Those are the same accusations that they put on us. Well, you're allowed to have a firearm in the state of Florida. I'm allowed to have a firearm. I'm allowed to conceal carry. I'm allowed all that stuff. But if I have to defend myself because somebody opened fire, chances are, I would probably go to jail because I had opened fire to return fire in terms of a defensive status, but I fired within some sort of a city limit, some sort of a area, so now I go to jail too.
Yeah, if you make it to jail, Kharis.
If I make it, do you see what I'm saying? If I make it, but you see the setups that's there. You can do it, but you're gonna get caught up with something. They're gonna try and bring a charge on you. We know it, and again, I'm glad that our people have actually recognized the okie doke.
Yeah,
you can do it, but you already know who's going to then try to set it on up. And again, surprise, they weren't talking about nuclear any of that until when? Until the U.S.'s economy started to get real messed up.
And the thing of it is, though, when who was it? Was it Ethiopia who was built the dam,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're getting beef with Egypt.
Yes.
It's like everybody wants to keep us in the dark. In the dark. They want to keep us in the backward situation. And even though they said, "Hey, we're not going to stop your water supply," they still are imposing sanctions and restrictions on Ethiopian products, trying to keep
Mm-hmm.
them landlocked so they can't export their goods. I'm sitting here going, this is all by design,
Mm-hmm.
and we as a people have to recognize that, and those people on the continent who are going along with Egypt need to stop, because they need to understand that it's not really about the water flow. It's about the economic flow, that cash flow that they know is going to come when Ethiopia has access to a deep water port.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And exactly. This is why you do have, I would say, more so these, and keep in mind, every border in Africa is literally, it's artificial. It
Yeah.
has no rhyme or reason. It was just literally the construct of the Berlin Conference.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They don't go along tribal structures, none of that. It's all artificial. It's what it is that they would try to group and try to subjugate, right? Um, clans and tribes that were strong but did not necessarily um, subscribe to European domination. Well, guess what they did? They landlocked them. Okay, you don't get it. You don't get
Mm-hmm.
access to
Right.
water. You don't get access to any of this. That was the whole premise of the Berlin Conference. That's why they don't really like to talk about the Berlin Conference. They don't like to talk about all of these different apparatuses that they've created. And because why? Because this all is the apparatus of war, right? War is economic. Don't get it twisted. And we've been showing that to folks, you know. What are we in right now? This is day 106 or 107 of an economic embargo over in the Strait of Hormuz.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who's actually benefiting the most from this economic embargo?
Africa.
Port. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look, the power is coming back. So it's not a fact of Africa not being a powerhouse. It is a powerhouse. It's going to be, how do they recognize and see themselves as that?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't see yourself with value, then guess what? Then people are going to take advantage of you if you don't see your own value.
All the time. All the time. That's why they allow them to come over and do the things that they do to our people and act as though they have to take it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it becomes part and parcel. And I'm like, I wish I was there. Because
That's why they don't want us there. Listen. That's why they don't want us there, because we'll go through and we'll say, no, that's not how that goes.
and they be like, is this your
Look,
child? No, she's not, but I'm gonna act today like she is.
mm-hmm. And they know that we have that familial tie and that familiar relationship, and it's like, nah, you don't need to talk to him like that. You don't need to act like this. You don't need to cut in line. I saw that when I was in Tanzania. Was doing something at a bank on over there, and this person tried to cut the line, and we said, excuse us, the line's on over here. And it was an Indian person. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay. And those Tanzanians looked at us like, oh, y'all actually said this to the Indian folks? What?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have that juice like that? It's like, yeah.
You gotta check them. You got to check them.
Yeah.
Trust me. I'm here. Well, was in California for all those years, and you go into different stores and they do the same thing. They walk white.
Mhm.
Excuse me, hold up, and they only have one thing. I'm sorry. You didn't ask. You just assumed that you could step in front of me and that it was okay, and it's not okay. And see, that's the problem I have. I have a deep seated problem with that, because they take advantage of our people everywhere. It doesn't matter what country they're in.
Mhm.
Even here in America, they do it, and it really ticks me off to no end because I'm not going to tolerate it. I don't know about some other people do, but I'm not.
Well, exactly. And now the dynamics have kind of changed a little bit. The dynamics flipped. So everything that they had felt comfortable with in their perception of power, they don't have that anymore. And this is why they're screaming and they're shouting and they're saying, "Hey, can we all work together because we got to heal our nation. We got to have America come back."
Mm.
And and we're saying, "No, we're doing what we need to do and we're having our relationship just fine." I'm sorry. Look, we're doing good.
Hmm.
We're actually doing a-okay. We're actually doing very spectacular because now our brothers and sisters are reaching on out to us. Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you bring this? Hey, we need you to do this proposal. Hey, we need you to do this. I'm I'm busy. I don't know
Hmm.
what the God did. He said, "All right, now that you done finished your dissertation, now that you done finished, you know,
Now
getting this
focus your energies over
oh,
here.
over here exactly." I said, Father, I said, I still need to get my stuff published, you know. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, but that's a blessing because I only have like a couple of edits. I thought it was going to be a lot. There was like, it's like now you got to do your citations. I only had like 11 citations out of 238 pages. I said, thank you, Father. And half of that stuff, I was like, I spent all this money for you to just do AI. I said, oh my god, you know what I'm saying? I said, ah. But he, you know, the editor is like, but you know, I do this to let you know, and it's, I'm like, come on, man, you know, so you know, but it's, but the reason I laugh at that is because of what we're doing is so beneficial. When people say, well, it's getting hard around here, you know, things aren't going around there, and things aren't moving the way it's supposed to. And the question is that um we have to change our it's a perception. Is it really hard, or is the Most High giving you an answer that is in another place, another environment?
Hmm.
I would say this. Look, you know, it's funny when people chase you down. When people chase you down, and I always pray about you know, things like this. Like, okay, is this legitimate, Father? Am I supposed to move like this? And then the Most High, you'll say, "Yep, we got you. He's got me. You're good." That's the Most High.
Hmm. Absolutely. He
And
takes he's going to take care of us either way, but we should get our head in the game is all I'm saying. You know, we see where this is going. We see the handwriting on the wall. We know it's getting hot on the block, and
mm-hmm.
Trump and his MAGA, they spinning the block. So we need we
Oh
need to
yeah.
know, we need to have options. You know, we need to know that we got some place to go because it's going to get to that point.
Well, yeah, it's gonna get there, and I tell people, I'm like, listen, you know, if you're gonna go to Africa and you think that Africa is gonna be, you know, a developed utopia,
Mhm.
you're gonna have a very hard time there. It's not.
Mhm.
Can it be? With your help? Can it be with your understanding? Look, you have all of the manpower and human capital in the world.
But
They want to know.
that's where the wealth is, though. I mean, it's like
Hmm.
here in America, these things it's when the gold rush and all those things were taking place and people were getting the land rush, they were gobbling up the wealth. And now
Hmm.
here we got Africa, which is what, 3, 4 times bigger than the American continent. And
Hmm.
all that land and resource is available. That's why they're having this new scramble for Africa. But the only people scrambling seems to be the Europeans. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, where are our people? We're not even in the game. We're still sitting on the sidelines waiting for the Most High to pick us up and drop us on our land and hand us our bag of gold and all that. And we don't want to put in the work. But I'm from the old school, and it says faith without works is
It's
dead.
dead.
And
Yep.
you cannot say, I heard from the Most High, but I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to wait on the. No, that's not the way things work in the kingdom. Never have, never will. That's just my 2 cents. But
No, that's true. Look, and that you're absolutely right. I'm just gonna wait on the Most High to get me the bag.
yeah.
Huh? No. Look, ask, right? Knock, seek.
Hmm.
Look, these doors are open. We just have to be we just have to be courageous. This is what we are. We're lions.
Be
We have
strong
to
and
have that
very
courageous,
courageous.
and
That's right.
yeah, don't be exactly. Look, there are times that this walk is not for the faint of heart, because there are times that say, Father, am I doing the right thing? Father, is this working? Is this supposed to be this and this? I just had this. I was talking about this last week. I just had that moment. The Most High gives you moments. Where
Hmm.
where He allows the enemy, right? He allows the enemy to mess with you, to get in your flesh. Oh, they're gonna have. Oh, Father, it's and then I just had to say, Father, thank you, because I'm here, and you aren't gonna let me just fall apart while I'm here. And then the phone call comes. The phone call comes literally less than an hour later, after I just said, because that's what it is. When people say that, man, I can go through this, I can go through that. Yeah, just wait. But until you go through, until you sit there and you just say, thank you, Father. I'm just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'm just being another bad Negro in this fire, Father. Thank you, Father.
Yes. We all have to become some bad Negroes here
Yeah,
because
you just gonna have to learn, just get burnt up. I said, thank you, Father. I'm just gonna get burnt. Let me just go through this spiritual barbecue, Father. Just have it your way. Just like Burger King. I'm gonna get plain boiled, Thank you, Father. I said, let this be a sweet aroma. I
it ain't a
uh,
sacrifice unless it goes through the fire, you
yep,
know? And
yep.
and so the people like yourself that, I've admired for your tenacity over the years because you stuck with it, and you went there, you put feet on the ground, you made the connections. And now we just got to get our people into a mindset of, hey, even if you're not going to go live in Africa, even if you're not going to live there, you can still take advantage of the resources there
Hmm.
by coming together in one accord to accomplish the will of the Most High. Because it's
Hmm.
not just about you. It's going to make a ripple through all of our people, wherever they are, on the continent, in the diaspora. It's going to lift them out of poverty. I can't watch another video with our children on the continent starving, or people here in this country saying they can't afford a home or they're living on the street. There's no reason. There's the Most High put plenty of wealth here for us. There's no shortage of wealth. There's just a shortage of people who want to come together and work for it.
Hmm. Because again, with a lot of these things going on, especially with the Asian boycott and things of that nature, I think a lot of folks, and you know what, even though the way that this has happened has come from a truly um horrible situation.
Hmm.
But nobody wants to do this over the life of one of our children,
Hmm.
gunned down, right, leaving with shots in the back. That's how.
130 yards away from the store, the station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one of the things that stuck in my craw. this week. I had got a little emotional yesterday because these things are starting to weigh on me, and I'm starting to ask the Most High, you really want us to stay in this situation and wait on you, or is it okay for us to go and plant, like these missionaries used to go plant churches? Well, we can go plant businesses and plant communities, and we can go ahead and have something already established. So when our people come in the Exodus, they don't have to be walking into a foreign situation. They're walking into a situation where they got people who've already gone ahead of them, whom they know and trust. That's just my view. I don't know. A lot of people, maybe they don't see it that way, but that's the way I see it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that had stood out to me this week, which was, in my opinion, very awesome, even though we're taking a very traumatic situation, the resiliency of our people, that's literally the Most High right there. Because the reality is, well, when these folks were getting on social media and they're saying, oh, well, black folks need all of this and all of that, and they need all this, and it comes from Asian countries. And then I kind of laughed and I chuckled and I said, no, the Asians are the ones that just produce this. But imagine if we were to have the audacity to open up our own Alibaba in an African format to service the United States. Imagine that we have literally Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata Inc. Hakuna Matata, like, where'd you get it all? Hakuna Matata? Oh, they got that there? Oh, snap. What? They got that there? How many of our people would be able to have the front stores and everything else? We do that. Most of us do that, anyway. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right,
Hey, we have this. We have the quality here. We're doing this there. Look, we're just manufacturing it here. The same materials that they bring on out there. Not that it's because it's all made. Or excuse me, the materials are just manufactured in China, but it's sourced from Africa.
That's right.
Do you not think that they don't have the same folks, the same designs, the same materials over on the continent? Come on now. Y'all just need to figure out, okay, this is how we need to do this. Let's place an order here and then get it shipped on out. Right.
And see, a lot of people, they don't understand too that the market in Africa, what is it now? The population is like 1.4, is it? 1.4 billion, 1.5, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I'm understanding that it's supposed to reach 2 billion by 2050. That's a lot of consumers. That's a lot of demand. And a lot of people that need work.
Yes.
And they're not getting paid, the wages from the West. These are people getting paid just like those people's Chinese shops. They're not getting paid like people in the West. That's why they can sell the Jordans over here for make them over there for so cheap and then sell them over here for hundreds of dollars. It's the same thing that can work. That same formula can work on the continent if our people come together.
Exactly. And that's where, again, that's where the African Union has to be involved, to be like, hey, listen, what are you shipping on over? Every time material is actually declared, they have a the MSDS, the material, data or safety data sheets, right? What is it there for? What's the declaration? What is it used for? Right? Because items, they want to know, why is it leaving? We kind of take things for granted. I remember that in logistics. You just kind of take things for granted. Oh, it's just going there. No, what is happening? Why is it there? What's this transaction? Why can't that be sourced over in the continent? Because see, when you have that sourced over in the continent, then guess what? You have a couple of, I'm gonna say that Hakuna Matata factories, you know what I'm saying? On out there. Hey, you see what I'm saying? Put them things on rails, put them things on the little Bajajis, whatever, the little cars, trucks, you name it. You have folks moving exponentially, up and down. Then they'll get things done. They got more people, of course. You got more people. You can you can cart more things. Let's face facts.
That creates a whole nother conduit, for the wealth to flow. We talk about buying black in this boycott, saying, okay, support black businesses. Well, if you had something like what you said, Hakuna Matata,
Hakuna Matata factory. Look,
where you could get
Alibaba. Now we got Hakuna Matata. No problems.
and have no worries.
No worries. That's what it is. That's what you worried for that from. Hakuna Matatas, no worries.
Yeah. And our children's children are set up with a legacy. See, we got to start thinking like the patriarchs, long term, generationally. And if we do that, well, it's got to start somewhere. Kharis got it. Others got it. Brother Asaph, he's got it. We've heard from a few people who have this, but why we can't come together?
Yeah, we got plenty. We got plenty of opportunities to knock this thing on out. We can go on over there, automate a factory like that. We have that. We have our people that can do that, to get things together, to get things shipped on out, to get them on over to the ports, to get the rails on in there, to get these containers on in, to bring them on over. Look, we could, and I'm going to tell you this. Do you know how fearful there would be once they start seeing them packages showing up? From Ghana, from Nigeria, from Lagos. You see what I'm saying? When they start showing on up, wait a second, hold up. They got some shipments coming on in here from black folks. You're telling me, wait, what? Wait. You telling me that electric razor made in Africa? Remember, Africa was one of the few areas of the world that wasn't hit by tariffs. Do you see what I'm saying? I think that's too much. I think I'm letting that cat out the bag. I'm not gonna let you know what I'm planning. I'm plotting something right now. I'm plotting something.
Well, I'll be the first one on the website, bro. You get it up.
Yeah, look, we're gonna be sending that all in bulk. We're gonna be sending.
Because we
strong arm Louis Vuitton. We're gonna strong arm Louis Vuitton for them rights. We're gonna strong arm, all those men. Look, if you want your stuff, you can only get with that certain material, that certain product from Africa. So
that's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you strong arm that. Like stop playing with these people.
A lot of the leather that they use in those fancy purses comes from Africa. But then they go over there and they tan it and they put some dye on it and call it Italian leather. Came from Africa. Like the cocoa, just like the coffee, just like it's like a few months ago we were starting a fundraiser for coffee drinkers, and we talked to wholesalers in Ethiopia. They were willing to give us the coffee dirt cheap, but we don't have an apparatus set up to receive the coffee, process the coffee. It was just, and I'm like, wow, you're going to give it to us like that? That's a business. It's a business waiting to be started, but I'm just not in a position to take advantage of it.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff, and I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you, we have to be and not be afraid. Let me show you that. Let me tell you this: not be afraid to tell one another and to explain to one another what it is that's on our heart to do. But what do you want to do? How you want to do that? Because when you're able to do that, there's somebody that's going to be on out there that has the resources to make your dream happen.
Right.
That's what's going on with the hospital. Look, there's somebody on out there. It sounded far-fetched. You're going to have a hospital there. You're going to do that there. Yes. Yes. And let me tell you, when I was in a meeting with these folks back on Friday, They're like, oh yeah, we do this, this, and this, and all I kept thinking in the back of my mind, I said, thank you, Father, Hallelujah, thank you, Yahushua Hamashiach, because we're not going to get all the answers. We don't need to have all the answers, but the Most High is going to put it into. He's going to put you in a place with somebody that's going to have all the answers for you. Bam.
It's once you start that faith walk, man, it's just each step you find out that the Most High is opening doors. He's creating divine appointments.
Yes.
And the times when you get down and think, oh, nothing's happening, maybe this was the wrong path. Then all of a sudden you see that light and you go, oh, okay, I'm still on the right path. And you just keep going, That journey of 1,000 miles, man, it begins with one step. And I think that you've already taken the initial steps. And if everybody can get in line and get in agreement, we can march in there and become, like Brother Asaph said, the new governments of Africa, new heads of government.
Oh, yeah. Don't be saying that on YouTube, Brother Asaph.
It's too late. I said it. I vocalized it. It's too late.
Oh, boy. What is this that you were talking about? You want to be government? Oh, boy.
Hey, the brother that I talked to last week, he said that they are actually working in the government of Ghana to change the law so that the people from the diaspora can actually run for president. And I was like, what? You guys want to, they say we need that view, that mind, that's coming from the diaspora. We need that input back into the continent. And I was like, wow. I said, man, that's deep. A lot of countries wouldn't do that. If you're not native born, they're not doing that.
Yeah, that's a big deal because again, Ghana's Ghana is, they are leading the charge. They said that they're leading the charge. They're getting reparations. And, it's funny that we're having this conversation right now because June 17th through the 19th, they're going to have a reparations, a African Union sponsored reparations conference that's going to be held in Accra. Man, oh man.
Wow.
Could you believe that? Can you believe that we're here?
It'd be wonderful to get that check and go over and start buying up the resources that we've been talking about for the last.
Come on now.
Come
on now. Listen, there are things that's cooking in the background. That's all I tell you, family. I said just keep us in prayer. These are the things that we're doing things. We're not just sitting idly by. We're actually doing things. We're being contacted by these governments to help support these apparatus. It's so awesome that it doesn't even feel real. It really is. And then I have to explain to people that this is real. You get what that's what I have to do most of my time is explain to, oh, this is real. This is real. Have people that have had their patents for all sorts of technologies, things that it's fantastic.
We have had the same types of things here in recent history, not the length of time that you've been dealing with Q2UA, but just in recent history since I've made a shift in the ministry and started saying, hey, we want to do a homestead here for the people who want to stay. But we also want to make arrangement for the people who don't want to stay, who want to go back to the motherland. As soon as I said that, all of a sudden we start getting all this feedback from people saying, hey, there's a chief over here. He's saying if you come in and do this, that he will give you this land. I'm like, what? That sounds like some Dr. Copeland stuff there. So
yeah, they have it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like they're saying it's just sitting here and we're not taking advantage of the land, and we'd like to have homes and schools and hospitals and clinics and educational facilities, all that kind of stuff on there. They're saying that, hey, if you come with the expertise, you come with the people who can get it done, there's no end to it. Africa's tremendous opportunity. I mean, I'm blown away just thinking about all the opportunity that's being wasted on the Europeans, being wasted on them other nations, when it's actually our land. It's like
Mm-hmm.
somebody coming in your house and just taking advantage of all the things, all the amenities of your home while you're sitting outside. It doesn't make sense to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's how things needed to happen, because again, this is a very interesting time. If this isn't 10 years ago, it's not 15 years ago, it's not even 5 years ago, but this is happening right now.
Yeah.
So yes, we the Most High has opened up the door for us to take advantage. That's it. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna get mad that the Most High's opened up the door? Well, he opened up the door, but I need valet service.
Hmm.
He opened up the door, but I need to have him have a footstool so I can step up and enter the door. Or I need to have somebody. I need to ride on somebody's back when the Most High has given you everything that you need.
Hmm. And see, the thing of it is, when it comes to what the Most High is speaking to me in this particular season, is that we have to have ourselves positioned for the Ezekiel 37.
Mm-hmm.
The two sticks are going to come together, whether we are participating in it or not. It's going to happen because it came out of his mouth. It can't come back void. So we might as well position ourselves to facilitate that, because that's where the blessing is in bringing about the Most High's word on the earth. We're his ambassadors. We're supposed to be facilitating his will being done on
Mm-hmm.
earth as it is in heaven, as it is. Come on now. But we got too many people that just want to sit back on faith and spectate. I've been a pastor too long. I've seen it happen too many times. The church starts a project and 200 people say, yes, amen, we want to do that. And then 15 people show up
Mm-hmm.
when it's time to do the work. And it's like, I'm like, okay, we were all in agreement. We all said we saw the vision. We were all down to do this. Where are you at when the time comes to do the physical work?
Mm-hmm.
And I see the same thing happening in the awakening. Unfortunately, you'll have 100 people, 200 people saying, "Yeah, we love that idea." And say, "Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. Everybody come together and get on this Zoom meeting with me," and 20 people show up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something getting lost in translation. It's got to translate from faith to works. Those two things go hand in hand. They're inseparable. And I think that right now, looking at what is available on the continent, what can be done, all the opportunities that exist that will change our families' lives forever. And you still got people who want to sit back and go, I don't know. Maybe we should think this over.
What does the scripture say? What, a little folding of hands, right? It's a little
Yeah, a
folding of
little
hands.
sleep, a little slumber.
Mm-hmm.
So shall your poverty come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, and that's the whole thing. Look, this to me is this is the greatest generation here, because again, we're we are poised to do some truly tremendous things. I'm having meetings literally a couple hours ago. I asked the folks. I said, let me get some time to, to get ready for coming on here. But there are things happening. I had a very busy week last week, and I tell people, um, a lot of things that I'm doing is moving. It there are things moving in the background. I ask people like, hey, thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers in this. But it's one of those things. The deals don't get done until they get done. And when they do get done, then we have to be very mindful in how we show people that the deals are being done. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because we can't have our people derail our what the Most High is doing, and
Right,
and
right.
that's where we are working to do things in a very wise manner. It takes wisdom to deal with a lot of the stuff. And it's not just wisdom, it's also patience, and it's also trust. And for a lot of our people that have been in the trenches, they've seen this, and a lot of folks will, I don't know why it hasn't happened this quickly, or I don't know why it didn't happen like this, and I get it, and that's where a lot of our folks, they want things on a certain time, and I just told people, I'm like, listen, this is all the Most High's timing. That's the only thing I can do, is just fall in line with what the Most High is doing, and he does things, he directs things, but when he does it in an awesome way, in an awesome manner. So my thing right now is, I'm here in the background with our folks at Q2A, and we're developing strategies of how we successfully engage with our community to bring about and complete projects. To bring about and complete. Those are two key words. We're not just sitting here. We need to have our people being able to be mobilized to learn. We have a lot of folks. I just saw people in the chat, a degree in management and information systems, have the MBA. These are great things. We have a lot of great leadership, right? Mid-tier to executive leadership skills to be able to help support these projects. But we need to have our people to do it.
Right. It's a scramble. We talked about this months back, the new scramble for Africa. The Chinese got their hooks in deep. The Europeans are trying to ease back in. Macron's been lurking around the continent again. And I'm sitting here going, man, all this interest in a nation that everybody says is a third world, it's backwards, it's uneducated, all that negativity that they spew about it, but everybody's over there trying to get in place. Exactly. So that ought to tell you something. It's like
you don't need it. We'll take care of it for you.
Don't you worry about this here. It's nothing that you should be interested in.
Don't worry about it, man. And we're telling them, it's like, nah, you need to worry about it, because that's what they want. They want what you all have. Don't look, the land is a commodity, okay? The land is a commodity. And for us, we have always been the commodity. We have been the perpetual debt instrument. So do you think that, do you hear them talking about go back to Africa right now? No. Why don't you go back to Africa? Okay. They know if we go back to Africa, it's over for them. They don't say that anymore. We need to come together. We need to help fix this nation. We need you. We need, all of a sudden. I just said, look, you see that over there? You see all that gold? You see all that bauxite, that tanzanite? You see all the silver? You see everything there? You see all that vegetation there? You see everything? What does America have? Y'all running out of water.
Look, every one of these commodities, every one of the commodities on the continent has made people rich, nations rich.
Come on.
The Swiss Miss cocoa, I drank that most of my life when I was coming up from being a child. Swiss Miss, and I thought they got cocoa plants and stuff over there in Switzerland. Come to find out, just a few years ago, I'm a little late to the party. Just a few years ago, Swiss don't have no cocoa plants.
They ain't got no cocoa plants.
No,
they ain't got none of that. They ain't got
whatsoever.
They ain't got no type of cocoa pods. Get out of here.
But all the people sipping the cocoa with the little marshmallows in it, they swear it comes from Switzerland. It comes from Africa. And if we get over their family and position ourselves, we can change the futures for our families forever. And that's why I wanted Brother Copeland to come on here and share his expertise, because you look at that map, everything that we have need of has been provided. It's there.
Absolutely.
And we are neglecting it to our own detriment. We're hurting ourselves. While we're over here struggling to pay rent and pay car notes and send our kids to school and all these things, these expenses, They're not worried if we were more entrepreneurial minded. You
Yes.
know, we've got to get outside of this box of Babylon, get into the continent, visit the continent, see what's there, see the opportunities, talk to the people. Dr. Copeland, he's been there. People have invited me to come, but I ain't balling like that. So I have
Me neither.
so I have to keep waiting on time, hoping that Most High opens a door. Even the gentleman I talked to last week has a tour coming up in December to view that property that we spoke about. And it's I don't see how I can do that. I mean, I'm like,
The Most High will make a way. That's why I said, listen, he's gonna make a way. He will.
I just don't even know if I want to do, what is it, a 15-hour, 17-hour, something crazy like
You'll
that.
make it. Don't worry, you'll make it.
Brother, I get stiff sitting down just doing a broadcast.
Yeah. You going listen. You just get yourself a seat in the back. As soon as all you have to do is just be in your seat for that first 30 minutes, and then just you can stand the rest of the flight. That's right in the back. That's
it seems like what, about a week ago I hit my 66, and I think mentally I just went I feel that right knee locking up. So yeah, it's a tremendous time for us, family. It's a time of opportunity for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. What Dr. Copeland's been saying for years, and I've been listening. I used to listen in the background, and I finally started coming in and commenting. But he's been saying the same things about the opportunities that are there if a people in the diaspora can come together and do what needs to be done. We don't need one big billionaire to come in. All we need is willing people to come in. What do you have? 2 loaves, 5 fish, whatever you got, bring it in. The Most High will do miraculous things when people come willingly by faith. And that's my, perspective, because that's how I view everything. But the Most High will use people who come with very little just so he can show his tremendous power.
Hallelujah.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
man.
All right. Well, other than that, Pastor Rick, that's all I have to say. If you'd like to again, we are revamping our website. Shout out to Brother Fast Nichols. So we should have things up and going here in the next couple of days. It'll be at q2aintl.org. That's q2aintl.org. And the reason that we're doing that is because we are getting ready for some major things to happen. There are things again happening in the background, and we want to make sure that our people look. This isn't a time for play. Play is over. I pray that we realize that the time for all the craziness and things of that nature is over. We're now getting work done, and that's where we're doing that. And part of that is the messaging that we're going to start to have with the community, how we're going to start presenting ourselves within the social media spaces. Because again, when people start to see that things are moving, it'll outgrow this community. Okay. So we need to be mindful and protective of all the things that we're doing, because obviously that jealousy is going to be there. Wait, how are these Negroes doing all this? Yep.
Favor. Like they always saying, favor ain't fair. We don't got much else, but we got the Most High. That's all we need. Well, family, I'm going to have to make that change on my link down there. It's still using the old web address, but I'll make the change, my brother.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, and we'll be having some updates. But again, thank you, Pastor Rick Fletcher, for having me on here to spend some time with you this Sunday evening.
Hey, you're more than welcome, my brother. I was looking forward to having you on. I was just hoping and praying you'd have time to show up. So, family, I say thank you for coming through and sharing, spend some time with us. Those of you who have not yet connected with me on the WhatsApp group, go ahead and send that email because that's where we meet every Tuesday in the Shiloh Diaspora group. That's talking about going over to the continent and doing the things that need to be done, establishing homesteads, groups of people going over and establishing community. So all of that is available to you. It has to start with a foundation somewhere. And I'm inviting you to come over and do it with us. If you're not doing it with us, you ain't doing it. All right. So we support Dr. Kharis and QTUA. That's been something that's always been in my back pocket. We support them, and I pray and ask each and every one of you to support Quest to Unite Africa and Dr. Copeland over at Covenant Awakenings. Amen. All right. Shalom, family. We see you on the next. Thank you again, Dr. Copeland. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow. Are you going to be on live, bro?
Of course I am. Of course I
Okay,
am.
then I'll be there. I'll be there with bells on. All right.
All right.
Shalom, family.
All right. Shalom, everyone. Good night.